Everyone, good evening. So today we will be learning creating user interface. Okay, so what we will do from the last two sessions we are seeing a live applications. So in last two sessions we learned data model and how to create data model and few other things. So in today's sessions we will try to create a data model, okay, for that live applications. So in the last two sessions we saw, okay, how to create data model, and the next one I explained how to configure the case management for the apply leave or for the leave request. So in last sessions we didn't created the user interface. Okay, so in today's sessions we will be creating that. Okay, so I'll be navigating to App Studio first, and I'll show you the overview what all things already I have created for. So if you see, there are like one case type which is apply leave, and then there are like two data object, okay, employee and leave details. So employee will hold that employee details, and leave details will hold that leave details. So in real time when you apply a leave request, you don't have to enter the employee details because it will auto come from your system. Okay, because let's say you are working for any organization's ABC, then your details is already there. Okay, so you don't have to enter it. Here what we will do, we are trying to learn, sorry, so here we are trying to learn. So what we will do, we'll try to enter the employee details as well, okay, and the leave details as well. Okay, so these two things we will try to enter it. Okay, so and then we have that leave case type. I'll quickly show you what all details I have created in these two data objects. So if I go inside employee, okay, let's see what all attributes we have. So we have department, we have employee ID, we have employee ID, we have department, email ID, employee ID, first name, last name, mobile number. This is automatically added by Pega, but we will not be using. Okay, so this is the employee data type. If I go to leave details, so basically what we apply, okay, on a very high level, start date and end date and the leave region. Okay, so this is on a high level. Now what we will do, we'll try to create the user interface, okay, to enter these details, okay, employee details and leave details. Okay, so before we go ahead and create, okay, I'll just show you that if I'll create now a case for the apply leave, there is no UI. Okay, so let's see here, I'll try to create a request. So if you see here, it's just a basic details is coming. Okay, there is nothing else. So we have a like a screen flow. Okay, so screen flow is like multi steps where we can fill the details. So here it's the first screen is enter employee details, and second screen is employee enter leave details. So if I just navigate to leave details, both screen is blank. Okay, so you can see this is still not created. The previous one was have the screen, but it doesn't have any field. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll go ahead and add the user interface or add the UI. So like we can do it from the both the places, from App Studio and Dev Studio, but I will try to learn it from the App Studio, and then we'll go to Dev Studio and see what all rules in the background got created. Okay, so let's navigate it to the case type. So now you can see here that we have a two stage, create request and approve request. So basically it happens in any leave request, we create a request and then it goes for approval. After approval, it can either approve or get rejected. Okay, so here first we'll try to do, okay, we'll try to configure the UI for enter employee details. So you can see here, once I clicked on this step, okay, in the right side I got a pan where it is saying configure view. Okay, so I can click on this configure view. So it will take some time. So let's pop up, let it load the pop-up. So you can see here, okay, that label. So if you just remember, okay, when I created a case, we just see the label and descriptions. Okay, but we don't need it, so we can delete also, okay, on our UI. So basically what we want to add here, we want to add employee details. So what I'll do, I'll try to add field, sorry, so I'll say employee details. Okay, and then what is the type? So if you see here, okay, we can create all those properties in this class also. Okay, so we need to understand a little bit, but let's focus for now is that like how we are creating the UI. Okay, because we are trying to create the UI user interface through the object, this employee details object. So what I'll do here, I'll create a attribute, okay, or basically object, if you know a little bit Java. So object, employee object of employee class. Okay, and then inside that object we will be like we'll try to access those attributes, because we already have that attributes like first name, last name, employee ID in that class. Okay, so here I'm trying to create, so here the type will not be a text. Okay, so it will be a page. So here I'll say data reference. So the moment I say data reference, it will ask which data object. So you can see it's asking either you're like existing or you want to create a new one. So we don't want to create, we have already created. Okay, so I'll just select employee. And then it is asking single record or list of records. So definitely, like if I'm going to apply the leave, okay, then like it's a single record. I'll fill my details only, I'll not fill for 10%. Okay, so here we'll select a single record and then we'll submit it. So the moment we'll submit it, it will try to create another view, okay, where we will able to add all those attribute what we have added already in the employee class. So here it is asking open. So I'll just click on open and I can give a name. And just click on create. So it's creating. So basically what it will do, it will create a sections in a context of that employee details object which we have just created. Okay, so like in Java we called object. So here it will create, like in the dev studio, it will create a rule called employee details of page type. Okay, so we'll go ahead, we'll go in dev studio and we'll see those rules. So here you can see that these all things auto came. So if you want to remove, we can remove it, or if you want to rearrange, we can rearrange. But for now I think it's a good, we can go ahead with this one and we can just simply submit it. So once we'll do it, basically in the back end, what it will do, it will create a employee details section, okay, in employee class. Okay, and that sections will be referred through that employee details object, okay, which is in the work. So in the work, basically it means like if let's compare a little bit with the Java. Okay, so let's say you have employee details in main class, okay, and then you have employee class. Okay, so if you want to access anything in the employee class, what you'll do, you'll initialize employee details object in your main class, and then with that object you'll try to access each attribute. So similarly here also we are trying to do, we have created a object employee details in like the main class or in that employee apply leave class. I'll show you. And then in a context of that one, we are creating the UI and we are adding employee details, first name, last name, and other attributes. So I'll just submit it now. So this is done. So we'll now just save it. Similar way, we'll go ahead and quickly create for that leave details as well. So again here I'll say leave details, and this will be again, it will be another object. Here I'll say page. So data reference, single record, object is leave details. Just submit it. And then we'll create a new one, leave details, and then create it. So now whatever the attribute we had like asked, it came here. So this is one is this one we need to correct it because it should be date time. Okay, so we cannot correct it from here, so let it be like this. Okay, we'll correct it later. So the start date and end date should be of date time. So that's fine. Let's submit it. Now I'll save it. So I'll quickly go ahead and correct that. So just hold for a second. I'll quickly correct that property. So I'll open this one, I'll delete and recreate with the date property. So just taking a moment. So I'll simply delete this property. And then I'll try to create. So I'll just change the type to date and just submit it. So this correction is done, and I'll just change from text input to date time, the control type as well. Okay, so now let's go ahead and check like how it is, the new UI is looking. So basically we have created that UI. Okay, so let me create another case and see. So I created that, but all of the things is coming read only. So just we need to enable it, because I think when we created we didn't mark it as a editable. Okay, so that is fine. But if you see here, everything is coming: employee details, first name, last name, email ID. Okay, on the first screen, employee details screen. On, if I click on the second screen, it will come started, ended, and leave region. Okay, so now let's go ahead and see in the back end what all things got created. So that is very important. So I'll just go ahead and open the case type, and from there only I'll navigate it. So from here we can open the flow and we can see what all rules got created when we created the UI. So I'll click here on create. Okay, if you click here again, the right pane will open, and from there we can open the flow. So let's wait. So here you can see we have a link. Okay, open process. So we can open the process. So here what we are doing when we are trying to create a leave applications, we have a two steps where user is filling the data. Okay, so basically in the flow, what Pega have done in the background is that they have added two assignment. Okay, for one assignment to add the employee details, and the second one is to enter the leave details. So you can clearly see here the first assignment is to enter the employee details, and second assignment is to enter the leave details. Okay, and on each assignment, so as this is a screen flow, maybe we'll learn later this part. This is screen flow. We on screen flow we give the flow actions details on the assignment only. So if I just double click on that one, the properties window will open, and we can see that yes, we have the flow actions. The first flow actions name is create. We can rename and update it, but by default it's a create. So if I open this one, so in this one we'll see how the employee details sections has been referred. So let's see, I'll show you. So you can see here, then this is a flow action, and in flow actions how UI works is, or how the flow works is, that we have the flow. Okay, so from the case management, okay, we have the steps from in a steps we call a flow. In flow we have the assignments or any other step, and on the assignments we have the flow actions. Okay, so in a screen flow, flow actions is referred on the flow assignment step, and in a standard flow actions is referred on the connectors. So we will learn slowly. So if I just and in flow actions we referred section, and in sections we can have many controls, or we can embed another section. So that we will see now. So I'll just open the create sections as well. Okay, so you can see here that this sections is embedded. Okay, so if you see, like, just think that this create is in the main class. Okay, and what we are doing here to create that UI, okay, we have created another sections in employee class and just calling that through the object. Okay, so if I just open here, how this sections has been embedded. Okay, so this sections has been embedded through the context. Okay, through the page context, or through the object. So if you see here, it has been referred through the use clipboard page. Okay, and here this is the property which we created. Okay, so if I'll show you, so this is a property which we have created, and context is employee details. Okay, so basically this sections create employee details underscore search. So Pega just gave some name. I mean, we gave employee details, and then Pega appended this one. Okay, like create, because that, like, our flow actions name was create. Okay, so if I just open this one, So inside this one, then again Pega have like kind of a, this, if you see, this one is employee details. Okay, so this is in employee details, and then again, so this is like kind of a wrapper sections which Pega have created. And if I just click next in the employee details, so we can see our all attributes is there. Okay, so all attributes is here. So employee details is there, first name, last name, everything is there. And here mostly all are like kind of a text input control we are using. So if you see here, we are using text input, but we can update like based on what control we are looking. So if I just click here, we can find out a number of controls. So we can use any of them, okay, depending on your like what kind of a UI you are building. So in this one, so as this is already an employee class, so the page context won't be different. So it will just a primary page or use the current page context. Okay, but if you see this was page context, okay, in the last sections it is little different. Okay, and it is different because we are trying to access that using object. Okay, so this is the best way to design. Okay, if you see this employee details property can be created everything in the main means basically in this class. Okay, apply leave class. So if you see qtm leave app work apply leave, so that can be created here as well, but that's not the best practices, because in work or in main we should not create all property. What we should do, we should just create one property or one object, and through that object we should try to access the data class attributes. So here the data class attribute is that employee class. So if I just go to app explorer, and in this class we see that we have created only one attribute, okay, one property, which is employee details or the leave details. So basically we created two, and if I expand this one, so you can see inside that one we have those attributes. So basically this employee details or this leave details is referred to those employee details data class or leave details data class. So if I show here, open this property, so this property, because if you remember while creating the view I selected single page. Okay, so here if you see, sorry, so here if you see like it has been like a referred to that page definition. So basically page definition is that employee class, so it has been referred to that class. Okay, this one we can mark it manual for now, we don't need it. So similar way, so you can ask a question that how come this property are coming here. It is coming because the page definition is we have given the data employee class. Okay, similarly if I open the leave details, okay, we can see that all those properties coming because it has been referred the leave details class. So now if you try to relate, okay, how come how we are accessing, so you can see here that from the create we are using a page context. Okay, and then we have created a sections, this sections, and in this sections is basically there in data class. Okay, because like the class of this property is basically this property. If you see employee details, okay, the class of this property and this property is basically same, this is object. Okay, or you can say property of class of page type of class employee data employee. So that is where like inside that if I go here inside that one, there is no page context because this sections is there in the employee class, if you see, and this is a wrapper section, and inside that one we have that all employee attributes. So here we can, so basically here we are reusing all those attributes, and this is isolated. Okay, this is not directly in main class. Okay, so with the one object we are trying to access everything, so we are not making a clutter in our main class or in our case type class. Okay, so this is the best way to design. If I open this the leave details, it will be very similar. So let's quickly go ahead and check for that leave. So again here I can open the flow actions by clicking right, open flow actions, and then here you can see the correct name and like enter leave details, and then again here also it should have been referred through object. So you can see the leave details object has been referred, and inside that enter leave details underscore search, and then this is like basically another wrapper section, and inside that one we should have those like kind of attributes. So it was coming a read only. Okay, so how we can enable, okay, in presentation, so it is auto, so ideally it should come, let me see. So here it is read only. When it has been referred from the wrapper, it is read only. So what we need to do, okay, we need to just go and in from the presentations we have to mark it as auto. Okay, so if we do auto, then it should come at a table and we can enter the data. So at least I hope you're getting it right. So we have an object, through the object we're trying to access the data classes. We are not building entire UI in our class, okay, in main class. So we are just having one reference, and through the page context we're creating the sections and other things in that class. So here you can see that, okay, like again here also, if you want to change the control, okay, you can change it. So we have many controls based on your like UI, how what kind of a UI building, okay, you can use that. You can manually also add here more properties. So like initially, you, let's say you created a structure from the app studio, but now you want to add more property, you want to add when rule, where you want to add visibility conditions. So those kind of a things you can do directly in dev studio as well. Okay, so if I see, if I'll just quickly explain you any field. So you can see there are like many more options. We can add visibility conditions, that when we want to display, when we want to disable, when we want to mark it required. So if I say required, then it will add a kind of a mandatory asterisk, check mark asterisk. So we will see on the UI. So I just added for start date, so we'll see that one. So I'll quickly make this one also editable. So if you remember, in presentations we have to go and make it auto. So now let's create a new case. There is some issue, it's not loading. Let me check. It should load. So to load that, what happens, we need to basically initialize those property as well, employee details and leave details. Okay, so what I'll do, basically Pega added this one. Okay, so here we can just simply add, like we can do like update page, and we can just ref for that property employee details. So basically here we are kind of initializing, so creating that object, okay, creating an instance of object. I'll do that for the other object as well. You can do it in the pre actions as well of your flow action. Okay, so it all depends, like how you're coding, okay, what is your logic. But for now I'll just simply Pega have created this out of the box py set field defaults. So I'll just do it, and then now I'll try to create a case again. So let's see, I'm hoping now it should work. So see, you can, now it came, so we can enter that here. So employee id, let's say I'm giving 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. So you can add the validations, you want to add visibility conditions, if you want to add like many more things you want to add. Okay, in future what will happen, basically like or in real time, you are entering just employee id, or details will auto populate, or basically this will auto come from your organization. But here we are trying to learn, so that is where we are entering. And then department, you can say BPM Pega. So if I click next, then it is asking for leave details. So you can see here this control is auto there, and if you remember, I just marked this one as a start date as a mandatory. So if I just try to create, it will ask you to enter that start date. You can see that auto out of the box validations messages are firing. So I can just enter the details, end date, and then start date and end date. You can put a validation that the start date should be less than the end date. So those kind of a things you can do, and then you can make a leave reason. So here you can see that this is a text input. Okay, this is coming as a text input, but if, let's say if you want to add like a big text of your leave reasons, we can change it to text area. Okay, so let's see how we can do that quickly. We can see that if we have to change any control, how we can do. So I'll simply open that leave, enter leave details flow actions. I'll go to that section. and I'll go here. So if you see here, for this one the text input is there, but we want to change it to text area. So simply just go here, click text area, that's it. If you want to make it mandatory, we can just select required, yes, always. And then in presentations also we have few options that how you want to display, like the size, okay, either you want to give width and height as a custom, or you just want to have auto, and then you can give a min max length. So let's say we want to give min and max 500, then what it will happen, so we will see on the UI how it will change. So now I'll just click back and then continue again, then UI will get refreshed, and you can see here that we can enter that, okay, and like this became, the control got changed, and this is coming as a text area. One more feature here is there, we can have a text counter as well, display character counter, so we can enable this one as well. So what it will do, it will display that how much character is left. So you can see here, okay, that the field should be at least 500 character long. So it is saying the masses because our minimum character is also that much, okay. And then you can see that, okay, no, sorry, it got minimized. So the moment I'm typing, the counter is reducing, so we can have only maximum 500 characters and minimum 500 characters. So these kind of features is there. So this is basically Pega have a lot of controls we can build the UI, but I just wanted to show how we can configure the UI from that app studio, okay, and what all rules in the background it gets created. So let's summarize what we did it, okay. So when I started the sessions, we had two data model, employee and leave details, and then we had a case type, okay, apply leave. What we did, we created with the help of two data model, we created a two object in the main class, employee details and leave details, and with the help of those two objects we configured the UI, okay, or the view, we configured the view, and we added those all attributes whatever we had in those two classes, employee class and data classes, okay. After once we submitted, in the background what Pega had created a flow, okay. Pega had created a flow called create. Inside that flow, Pega had created a flow action, and in flow actions Pega had created another section, and in that sections, in that main sections, Pega had created another section in the employee class, okay, in the data class, using a context of those objects, and then inside that Pega created another sections to refer those all attributes. So basically how any UI get display is that flow actions, assignments in the flow assignments, and then flow actions, and inside the flow actions we can have a section, and inside the sections we can refer n number of sections, either using current context or using a different context, okay. Different context is that, like here we use an employee details or that leave details, okay, and inside that we can have n number of attributes or the controls, like we can have a date time, we can have a drop down, anything, okay, we can have text input or text area. So this is what for today's sessions. Let's you go ahead and try, and if you face any issue, let me know, okay. I hope this will help you, okay, and you'll be able to do create your own UI, okay. So thank you very much for today.